How to see stars, Pegasus and Medusa. Hi there, glad you're here with us to see what's up in the winter sky in the Northern Hemisphere. In this piece, we're going to focus on finding the star constellation Pegasus and the hidden or kept occulted constellation of Medusa. And we'll see how Pegasus and Medusa are connected through ancient Greek mythology and how their stories connect to the stars in the winter sky. If this is your first time with us, this piece is part of a go-at-your-own-pace alternative astronomy course for beginners. There's a playlist here on the channel to get caught up if you need to, where we're learning to identify the star constellations of the Northern Hemisphere sky by season. So we're going to pick up here from what we've already learned so far. We're facing south once again and looking up at that special place in the sky we've nicknamed the real oracle or the real all-seeing eye. And this time, we're choosing to look at the 1st of January, so New Year's Day. And we're looking during the first hour after sunset. So start by noticing that all the constellations that we've been tracking now over the fall season are now further westward along their journey on the arc of the ecliptic, and we now find Cetus the whale and Pisces the two fishes lined up at that special cross of the north-south meridian line in the arc of the ecliptic. Now, since we've already learned how to find both Cetus and Pisces, it will make finding Pegasus, the winged horse, that much easier for us. Because as you can see from the image, all you have to do is just look a little bit higher and a little bit to the west or to your right of Pisces location, and there you'll find Pegasus. Now, looking at the way that Pegasus is shaped in the sky, it does make it difficult to see how our ancient ancestors saw a winged horse there, right? But because Pegasus is such a large constellation with plenty of bright stars within it, this makes Pegasus easier to find in the January sky the hour after the sun has gone away for the day. Now we're going to learn in pieces to come that the story of Pegasus intersects with many other characters, specifically in ancient Greek mythology, but here in this piece, we're going to start with the first. This is the story of Pegasus' start, or Pegasus' divine birth from his dead mother, Medusa. Now, in all of our alternative astronomy lessons, we're learning more and more about how these famous stories, like these found in mythology, are actually telling us stories about how everything in the sky above all of our heads cyclically moves. Now, many of these stories can be traced back to a time before we as people even invented writing yet. So remember that many of these stories were created in ways to make them stick in the memory better. Because you have to consider that in oral traditions, telling the story, one to another, was the only way that we had to pass knowledge down throughout time. So you can imagine that creating memorable stories was of sky-high importance. This is why in this story about Pegasus' birth, we get some shock and some gore and a whole lot of strangeness, themes that we find commonly throughout many mythological tales. And this is what makes the story more memorable, impressing upon the mind the knowledge about the real sky story above our heads, even if the listener that the story is impressing has no idea that this real knowledge has been hidden or occulted within it. Now, many are familiar with the character called Medusa in ancient Greek mythology, at least to the extent that they might have heard of Medusa as being the cursed woman with snakes for hair, that if you look at her, she turns that looker stone cold. Now, we'll be looking deeper into Medusa's story in future pieces, but the story intersects here with Pegasus at Medusa's end. Medusa's death is caused by the ancient Greek hero Perseus, who we'll also be looking at in a future piece. But notice on this New Year's Day at sunset sky story, the constellation Perseus. Notice that this location of this constellation is on the east side of the special cross of the north-south meridian line and the arc of the ecliptic, while Pegasus is on the west side of it. The story goes that at the moment Perseus cuts off Medusa's head, it's either from her body, specifically her head or her neck in some versions of the tale. In others, it's from Medusa's spilled blood, is born Pegasus. So divinely born, you could say, out of his mother Medusa's death. Ancient Greek mythology is well known for many of the stories about the characters within them and how they end up with the gods honoring them by placing them as star constellations in the sky, just like we see here with the story of Pegasus and Pegasus' birth, and his mother Medusa's death, which was caused by Perseus. Now, we see both the constellations here of Pegasus and Perseus in this sky story image, right? But then where is Medusa in this sky story scene? Well, remember, one of the aspects about Medusa's story is you're not supposed to look at her, right? In other words, she's to be kept hidden or occulted from sight. And this has worked very well for a very long time, this hiding things in plain sight. But having made the discoveries that we did, that we call the real oracle or the real all-seeing eye, you could say it significantly improved our ability to see better in the dark and gave us the ability to fully decode what stories like this are really all about. It is believed that Medusa was not honored by the gods after her death like so many others in ancient Greek mythology, because you don't find any constellation in the night sky that is named after Medusa. But that's because you're not supposed to know that Medusa is actually, as we've seen before, not one constellation, but a combination of two. The combining of Cetus and Pisces again brings to light in this story who Medusa is and where she's located in the night sky. Cetus is Medusa, and Pisces, that is always found on top of Cetus's head, well, Pisces, as you can see by its shape in the sky, is Medusa's hair turned into snakes. And as you can see now, out of Medusa's head came Pegasus to the west in the real all-seeing eye, after Perseus, found just to the east, has killed her. You can also see why the sky story is about New Year's Day in this case, when the old year dies, Medusa, and out of it, the new year is born, Pegasus. And this makes better sense when viewed from this lens, right? There's always much more than meets the eye in these stories, and learning how to see better in the dark is what we do here. So subscribe to the channel for more if you like this, and check us out on our website too, starsnearme.com. There you can find the book that some of this info from the video piece came from, Constellations by Campfire for the winter season. And a link to get your copy can also be found down in the description box, along with links to our shop to get the Pegasus design and the Medusa design that were featured in this video as well. I think that'll do it for this lesson to help you become more star-sighted. So until next time, stay lit and be well.